Hello and welcome to Reignite, and I just have a cat that's appeared behind me. Thank you very much for that. Okay, that was an unexpected start. Hello, welcome to Reignite, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. I think we'll just jump right in while I push the cat out of the way, because our guest today has an incredibly busy week, and we've got some very exciting stuff coming up from him. So shall we leap right in? He is a composer, a songwriter, a multi-talented musician, and an author as well. So shall we bring him on and find out more about the man himself, Mr. JC Carroll? Morning.
Good morning, Cathy. How are you today? All right?
I'm doing very well indeed. And I am going to start, usually I start by having a bit of a chit chat, but I'm very excited because I saw your post yesterday that said The Boy From Nowhere, from the album that we're about to leap into talking about, is at number 10 on the Heritage chart.
Well, we're really excited. You know, we're going to the top. This is just the beginning. You know, it's just the beginning of a huge. We're going to be really amazingly famous again. I can't believe it.
You are indeed. Congratulations on that. That's a fantastic thing to happen.
It is great. No, it's great. It's a brilliant record. We've been working on it for 2 years, and it's kind of a little bit semi-autobiographical, and you know, it's given me an opportunity to speak to loads of brilliant people like yourself, and it's great to be on your show, Cathy. I really enjoy being on your show.
We are delighted to have you here because, like I say, with the album coming out and the launch coming up, you're a busy chap. So for anyone, oh, there we are, and there is the title of the album, Greetings from Nowhere, JC's band, The Members, new album. Before I forget, I'm going to say there is a launch party, is there not, on Friday at the 100 Club in London?
That's right. Yeah, we're Friday we're playing at the 100 Club in London, which is one of our favourite places to play, and it's going to be great. We're going to catch up with all our friends, and we're going to be signing copies of the record and selling T-shirts and singing songs. It's just going to be fantastic. Looking so much forward to it, and catching some of your great listeners there as well. If they live in the London area, we think you can get a train back. We finish a bit early, so you can pop on the train back to the suburbs.
Isn't that back to the suburbs? I like it. So actually, let's right. I was going to do the album, but let's jump back a little bit then. So anyone that's watching who does not know who JC is, where have you been? The Members, an amazing band with going all the way back to 1979. And if anyone doesn't know The Members, the first thing I would suggest is you go straight over to the Members official YouTube channel and have a look. There is a 7-minute video that has clips of the songs from the new album, is there not, that you introduce, and it is absolutely brilliant for giving a real taster of the variety of what's on that album.
Yeah. I mean, I've been working very, very hard. We've been working really hard in the studio and in the video studio, and you know, we've done what you call it is assets. So we made the songs, then you make the videos, then you stick them all up, and they're all stored up. There's only one video really been released, and there's another 6 videos they're all in reserve for the album, because we like to keep something back, and it's a big job, and you know, it's 2 years work. It's about to come out, and after that, and after the gigs, I'm going to go and chill out in France for a few months.
That sounds absolutely lovely. Do you have, I know, so you should never really ask a musician this, I think, do you have a favourite track off the new album? I've been told before it's like asking someone to choose their favourite child, asking that question.
Yeah, it is a bit like asking somebody to choose your favourite child. But the single Boy From Nowhere is doing really, really well for us at the moment. But anybody that's really a fan, it's got lots of different types of stuff on it, but anybody's a fan of kind of our very early punk rock stuff might like a song called Time Bomb, which is going to feature my little friends here, because I'm going to make a new little TikTok for it with this young lady, and then these happy gentlemen, and there's a little robot that's going to be in it, and it's going to be a great video. And Oh, there's another girl here who's quite nice. Look at her. She's quite cute.
Oh, look at
She's
her. She's, oh, bless her.
well, if she's Hungarian or something, but all these my little friends here, because when you do a video now, you don't have to be in it. You can just have little toys being in it, and it's like taking a trip back to your childhood, playing with toys, and then the toys dance around to your music, and you enter this kind of crazy world that only composers and video makers can make, where you you represent yourself with a piece of plastic. It's very exciting. I mean, we're digressing.
Why not? Why not? So what was your favorite, going back to your childhood then, what was your favorite childhood TV program? Come on.
Well, let's see. I mean, I don't know if I watched that much TV. We did have Doctor Who, which was a big deal. But I guess Top of the Pops was my favorite TV program. It was a brilliant program. It was on every week. And when I got into music, we would sit and watch it every week and hope, there was something decent on. When I was younger, we used to like anything that was a bit alternative. And so we used to sit there on Thursdays, and that was the only rock music you would hear all week. Hardly, unless you had a transistor radio. So it was a really special program for me, and it was brilliant to later on in my career to get to be on there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing though, it's so different back then, wasn't it? It was like, even now you say Top of the Pops, and I think Thursday 7 o'clock, and it was like everything stopped, you sat down and you watched that.
Yeah, because nowadays you're bombarded with all different types of music from on YouTubes and TikToks and everything like that. But Top of the Pops was this era-defining moment, and when you first saw David Bowie on it, wow, this is amazing. And of course, 60% of it was like, oh my goodness, it was Save Your Kisses for You and all sort of square stuff, and really corny, cheesy, chirpy, cheap stuff. And then suddenly, out of all this really naffness, you would see Black Sabbath kind of, and it would be like, wow, that's what I want to do, that's what I want to do, that's why I want to be like that, and your parents used to look at them, look at the state of those people, and you say, that's what I want to be like, and then the myth kind of exploded a little bit, because when we got to be on it, it wasn't all that we thought it would be, because like everything in the world, you get to climb the mountain, you think, oh, I'm just on the top of a mountain. But it was wonderful being on Top of the Pops in 1979. It was a great, my life changed, forever, and it was an era defining moment, for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you joined, I think it was 1977, was it, that you joined, and Sound of the Suburbs, which again, if people are watching and they have not heard Sound of the Suburbs, it was one of the most iconic songs from that era. I absolutely adore that song. As soon as I hear the title of it, it's just running around in my head and I can't stop singing.
No, it was wonderful to be on it. And it was what happened is we all had day jobs, and then 10 minutes later we were all on Top of the Pops, and then we were on touring, in a band, so it was it changed my life forever. And people used to say, are you a proper musician? And you'd say, well, I've been on Top of the Pops. Oh, right, okay, you're a proper musician. It was like a rite of passage, and
yeah.
And it was, you got to remember that it had this huge effect on people. For example, you could sell 150,000 records if you were on Top of the Pops the week afterwards. I mean, it was just stunning. I mean, so it was the main thing, and if it was, you're either on it or you weren't on it, and if you were on it, you were made, and people were buying thousands of these little plastic discs. Blondie would sell 3 million copies at #1, and we would sell 250,000 copies at #10. It was just, I mean, it was just incredible, really. And it's I mean, and also he had this chance to impress all these teenagers and people. It was interesting. The world's not like that anymore, but it's really brilliant to be on your show, because I know that I will sell millions of records with being on your show.
Of course you will. Of course you will. And I've just been noticing comments have been coming up on screen. So we've got my friend Paul over in America. Thank you for tuning in. It must be very, very early for you over there.
Oh, hi, Paul.
Hey, Paul. I've got Steve in Spain who's tuned in. Morning, Steve. I've got Anders that's tuning in from Sweden. Morning. So these are all early birds. They're all popping up. So we welcome you all. Thank you for showing up today.
Oh, great. And
We're
so
not
in
used-
Spain, it will be very, very early. And in America, it'll be very late.
I don't know, because hang on. He'd be, what, 5 hours behind us? Crikey, Paul. That means it's 5:10 in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Here, hello. It's only 5 a.m. here. Good Lord, man.
That's
Have a
fine.
coffee.
No. Oh, it's wonderful. The internet is a wonderful thing, especially, going on your YouTube and communicating and saying hello to Spain, hello US, hello Sweden, hello everywhere. It's brilliant.
It's bonkers. We're just sitting here and we're all over the world. It's quite remarkable. I tell you what they need to know though. When we started, I'm jumping backwards and forwards here because we're going down rabbit holes. But when we just started talking about your fabulous new album, Greetings from Nowhere, when I was looking into it, some of the stuff you've got coming out with this album is marvelous. Do you you've got the red vinyl for the LP, but then you've got this incredible box set. Could you run everyone through what they would get for their 75 quid? Because it is a bumper haul.
They get a box set, they get a handwritten lyrics, they get a poster, they get a postcard, they get a CD, they get plectrums, they get badges, they get a vinyl, and they get a box with the artwork, and they get a poster. And I worked really hard with a really brilliant artist called Malcolm Garrett. Malcolm, that I've been working with for 7 years, and he's done all the early artwork for the Buzzcocks. He worked on Duran Duran, and he's just been working forever. So when we start working on the artwork, that really becomes a really long process. And so so putting it all together and seeing it all in a beautiful box with the T-shirt and the posters and the postcard and the badges and everything, it's what the real fans really want. They want all the stuff, because instead of a digital file that just drops out of the sky, they want bits. They want physical proof of the record, and it kind of gives it reality. I mean, digital files are great and the music is great, but collectors want things, and also we need to sell things to make money out of the record, and you can't do that with a digital file.
No, you want some stuff. You want it in your hand, don't you? I mean that is an amazing collection of stuff to have for a fan to have hold of all those little. I'm loving that. And also, there's other bits, aren't there? Because of the CD, there's extra tracks.
That's right. On the CD, we got a special. There's and two songs that don't appear on any of the other versions. So the collectors, if they really want to get the proper version, the CD's got 2 songs that don't appear on the digital. That means Spotify, iTunes, and everything, or on the vinyl. So there's got 2 extra tracks. And I kind of like CDs. CDs still got a kind of value for me because you can put them in the computer, you can pull the files off. It's kind of a physical thing. And as I say, Malcolm does such a great job. This is the guy that did, Orgasm Addict sleeve for the Buzzcocks. He did the Rio sleeve for Duran Duran. He's such a great artist. So to work with him, and I've been working with him on and off for ages, it's really great. And it adds another whole level to your thing. We're making art here, and people, it's just great to work and collaborate with people, including people like yourself, because you've become part of the process. Everybody becomes part of the process, and it's a special little gang that you get involved in. It's brilliant to work with you, Cathy.
Oh, bless you. No, we're just so happy to have you on here, because I say, when I started looking into your life and your career, as I've been telling everyone, they had to tune in today, because you thus far have had the most fascinating career. I mean, so if we go back again, and they were jumping about, so we go back to the members, which obviously you joined, the massive fabulous song Sound of the Suburbs, but then you stopped in 1983, I think it was.
That's right.
So why did it stop there?
Well, it kind of ran its course, and we came to the 80s. We made this huge 80s album with a Human League producer called Martin Russian, and then we toured America for 3 years, and we just wore ourselves out. And the expected hit didn't happen, and we just ran away from each other because we'd been locked in a van, living together for 3 years. It's like being in prison when you have a successful band. So we ran off, and it had coincided with the time that we started to raise families and stuff like that, and you needed proper income. So we had to do other things, and I got involved in this wonderful shop with my then wife, and we began making clothes. And I had a clothes shop in London, and it soon became 4 clothes shops. And it just blossomed, and it was a whole different career, and I still play music, but I had 2 young children and a wife, and I had a whole staff in the shop. So I ended up making clothes for 10 years, and it was a really exciting time in my life, and was a very creative time in my life. And we made clothes for big and for videos and pop stars and U2 and Kylie Minogue and all sorts of interesting things. And in the background, I always wanted to go back to the music, but I did 10 years of clothing, and then I got involved in film music through a very chance meeting. And I got to make music on some wonderful films, including films with Johnny Depp, Marlon Brando. And then I began an association with the Sex Pistols filmmaker Julian Temple, and I made 6 films doing music for Julian's films, and which was really an interesting time in my life. But this was all overlapping with the clothes shop, and then overlapping with the members started again in 2008. So I've been doing the members quite a long time. Yeah, it's been weird overlapping, but if you read the book, my book is called Still Annoying the Neighbours, and if you read the book, it tells a very different story of all the different things I've done.
Look at that. Look at that professionalism. As soon as you said it, it came up on screen there. Thank you, producer.
Well, there is hope for people out there, because none of these things I did, I got trained for. So I didn't train as a musician or as a film musician. I didn't train as a pattern cutter or a fashion designer. I didn't train as a shopkeeper, and I haven't really trained for any of these things, but I just sort of fell into them. I'm very lucky because I was surrounded by great people, and the book is, people are really surprised if they read my book, because people always see you as a one-level person, like as JC, as the sound of the suburbs. That's my thing,
Yeah.
But some of the things that you do later on are more interesting, or the story is certainly more interesting. And it's just, and then once again, when pandemic started, like yourself, I reached out into the internet, and then I found this whole new audience of people out there that wanted to connect. And it's wonderful. It's a whole new way of communicating, and you're really obviously at the forefront of the technology, and you're doing a great job here, and it's great to be on your show.
Bless you. Yes, that was something we were going to talk about. So we were talking about this when we had a chat the other day. So it was during the pandemic that you set up a Saturday night regular stream, so it could be for people who were stuck at home and feeling a bit lost and a bit lonely and a bit disconnected. It, like we said, it pulls people together, as we've shown here. We've got Spain and America and Sweden and England all joining together, and you did this weekly during the pandemic.
Yeah, I did. I had this phone. It's this phone here, actually, which is and I turned it on one Saturday night, and I did a little broadcast, and people really liked it. So I started a show called Solitary Confinement in the Suburbs. And immediately people started logging on, and we formed this little band, and I got messages from people saying you really helped our pandemic. And there's some people who don't get out so much anymore, and some people that don't get out at all. And I gave them a sort of regular social life and slot. And then what's amazing, people like, I'm sure they do it with your show, they turn on it on the TV, and they watch you on the TV in the living room with the big speakers, and suddenly you're going toe to toe with the BBC and ITV, so you're able to compete as a broadcaster with everybody. So it's just an amazing opportunity. You know, this is what you've got to embrace it. You've got to go, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
And you've got to bring your little friends along. My girlfriend's here. And there's one that's hiding here. He's a bit shy, but he's going to come out. Oh, the yellow man.
Go on, who's that? Where is he? Oh, look at him. Oh, bless him. Oh, we're so looking forward to seeing these. I don't know if you've noticed some of the comments coming up on screen here. We just one of the people that's watching, actually, Anders, my friend from Sweden, he now follows my show, but we connected watching another show by a friend of ours, Ryan Roxy, from the Alice Cooper band, and we're still friends. My other friend that you just saw, Paul, we connect because we both go to Vegas and do vlogs of Vegas. So we've connected through that community. So it does, having this kind of thing just brings so many people in together. And like you said, what you did during the pandemic, like you said, it was like going down the pub on a Saturday night. All right, you haven't got the beer, but you can get a beer in the fridge or a Coke or whatever you want. But at least you had the company, because I know a lot of people struggled with that time. So I think well done to you for bringing a lot of people together and making people feel still connected with the world.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing, is that you can I did an hour show, and it was like your show. It's really quite exhausting, but I was singing songs, doing different things. I did a prog rock week, and you do connect people. But the nicest thing is the little comments. I'm afraid I don't have the comments because I'm not watching on YouTube. I'm just watching my webcam. Maybe I should be watching on a YouTube. But the comments, people saying, "Oh, can you sing this song for me?" And you say, "All right, I'll sing the song." And they were like, "Wow, the TV's just spoke back to me and is singing my song." And it was just really, and they felt that and so now we've got interactive TV. I mean, if somebody said to me, can you sing da da da? And I have a little iPad as well with all the lyrics as well, so I got about 150, 200 songs that I can do off the drop of a hat, and they really liked it, and it's so. The TV talking back to you is wonderful, because you feel you're part of it. So we're part of this new internet generation that we live on air and we live online, and it's wonderful.
It is. Can I just reassure everyone? Don't worry. No one asked me to sing a song, and even if you do, I certainly won't. We will defer to JC for that, but I'm not going to sing, so don't worry. A couple of things actually you touched on back there that, if you don't mind, I want to go back to. Oh, hello, someone ringing. Who's that? Somebody's telling me you're on the telly.
Sorry about that.
Right. That's someone saying you're on YouTube, and they've just seen, and they're letting you know you're on YouTube. That's what that was.
That's my record producer friend Dave Allen on the phone. He's a wonderful guy, and he worked on a lot of Cure and Human League records, and he's a wonderful guy. And I'm going to call him back later on because he helped me with all my records. Yes. What I was going back to, after the show.
Sorry?
Do you run competitions? Do you have competitions on your show?
Can do.
I don't. I could do, but I don't. Oh, actually, thank you. You've just reminded me, because you on Facebook were running a competition, weren't you? Is that still running? Can people still enter that?
There is a Facebook. If you go onto my Facebook page or onto the members, fans of the members, there is a competition, and we don't have a total winner yet. So if you go into the fans of the members on Facebook, it's a great little page, and there is some competitions there, and you can win a CD. And I wish I had a CD which I could wave at you, but I've not. Oh, I've got a postcard of the album cover. Here we go. There's the postcard. Greetings from nowhere. The postcard is kind of nice, because if you get a postcard, you can send it to people, and it says "Greetings from nowhere."
That's
marvelous.
Sending postcards. That's something we don't do anymore, isn't it? That's a shame. I used to love getting postcards.
Great. It's quite expensive, but that postcards is a nice little thing, because you just stick it on and it gets there. And I sent some messages to some people they wanted it's the album signed, and the album wasn't signed, so I signed the postcard and sent it to them. You know, it's like, it's a really nice little thing. And yeah, postcards are good. Oh, postcards, yeah, people don't really send them, do they? Because they send emails, but postcards are just. Do you remember going on holiday and you send a postcard?
Yeah, I used to send myself a postcard. I used to send all my postcards, and then I'd send myself one saying, by the time you get this, you'll be home, but just know that right now you're having a really good time. Is that wrong?
Good idea, Cathy. That's a brilliant idea. I mean, I like it's again, it's like it sends them a little thing. I'm thinking of you, and if you're in France, you have to go to the tobacco and buy some timbres, and it was all kind of ooh. But I'm going back to France. That's my other little exciting adventure. I bought a house about 7 months ago now. And if you look at my Facebook feed, you'll see me gradually building this house in France. And so I'm building this place, and I'm going to go and record my Celtic Odyssey, which is a sort of French Celtic record there. And I'm really looking forward to finishing my little run of gigs and promotion for the record, and then going out and starting my new record, which will be made in the beautiful French countryside. I can't wait.
Oh, how lush. And that's a solo one, is it?
Yeah, it's not a members one, it's a JC Carroll one, but I shall have lots of guests on it, and it'll be my excuse to invite my friends over and say, come and stay with me for 3 days, and we'll eat well, and then in the evening I'll record your violin or your flute or your bagpipes or whatever. And so it's an excuse for me to go to the countryside, entertain my friends, and do some recording. And I shall do some shows from there, because I've got really nice fast internet. You've got a nice fast internet line where you are, haven't you? It seems to work very well.
Yeah, it's not bad here up in Lincolnshire. It seems to be doing okay, actually. The famous last words as it all goes blank.
Well, really, you've been back there. You were on the continent, and now you're back in England, aren't you?
Yes, we move around a lot. We were in Spain, and I've lived in Sri Lanka, and I've lived in America, and here, there, and everywhere. But at the moment, we're pretty settled. Lincolnshire's a very lovely county, I have to say. I don't know if you've ever visited Lincolnshire. It's a very pleasant place to live, I would say.
No, I think it's really nice, and I remember doing a gig in Skegness and racing across the Lincolnshire Wolds to go to Manchester, and you're very close to the centre of England, but you're sort of remote at the same time. It's kind of really nice.
I absolutely love it, because we moved here and I know nothing about the county, so I'm having a whale of a time just exploring all these places and old buildings and churches and castles and stately homes. I do like, and roaming around in the countryside. Can't beat that, can you? I know you like to be out and about. I've seen some of your pictures from your place.
You wear Lincoln green. Is it Lincoln green that Robin Hood used to wear? Is that a colour? Lincoln green? I think it is.
Do you know? I think you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they were wearing. No, Lincoln is. No, it is a nice part of the country, because the eastern part of England is more developed than the western, and that's because there was much more trade. Because in the old days, all the trade came from the continent, and all our visitors and invaders came from across the sea. So it's quite rich in history and commerce.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if we'd have been here in the 17th century, we would have been on the coast, but now we're sort of 30-40 miles inland. So yes, the geography of the area has changed. Sorry?
The coast has moved. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it all silted up. So where we would have been right on the coast from the 17th century, it started to silt up and silt up. So now we have the river running through, but we're a good 30 odd miles away from the coast now.
And what's the river?
The River Welland. I'm getting a geography test here.
Welland, is there a ship canal as well? I think there's a Welland ship canal somewhere. I don't know where it is. Probably not in.
There possibly is. I shall do further investigation. Can I just say, by the way, hello to Tank the Lord, who I've seen pop up on screen several times, who's commented that you're looking great and that Sound of the Suburbs still brings up bristles on their arms.
Oh, that sounds good. Tank, I shall say good morning to Tank, and very nice to hear from you, sir.
It's lovely to have you here. One thing, right, let's jump back. I was going to say, Julian Temple, you mentioned before. Well, can we talk about this film, the London, the Modern Babylon, for people who don't know about London, the Modern Babylon?
It's a fantastic movie. And it was, I think, the third or fourth movie I did. And then they said, Julian's doing a movie about London, you know. And you think, well, what's he going to say? And then it's just this beautiful whirlwind of documentaries. And more, I mean, I had to do all different types of music. But forget about that. It's the most beautiful painted picture painted of this capital. It's like a punk rock love letter to London, but it goes back centuries, and it talks about London as an entity and as an amazing place where people come and people go, where music explodes. And Julian just gives it this amazing thing. We didn't really get a huge release at the time. I think it came out about 12 years ago, but if you get a chance to see it, I think you can see it on some of the streaming sites. It's a wonderful film, and it's got the Sex Pistols, and Julian's got footage of, you know, like the Roxy Club back in '77. He's got all sorts of things. They've got the Clash. It's just this great view of London as this ever-changing artistic battlefields kind of thing. And he manages to get all the different cultures and all the changes in it and tell this amazing story of a city in constant movement. It's a really fantastic film. I went to a screening of, he did one about Ibiza, which has not really come out yet, which is also good. And the other movie, which was stunning, was the Shane MacGowan movie, which I finished about 4 or 5 years ago, which is called A Crock of Gold, which is a really interesting story of a second generation Irish guy involved in the punk rock and in revival of the folk music thing. It's just, Julian has an amazing palette and a way of painting. He's like an impressionist painter. And I have to run after him and add little bits of music here, and then they take it off and they put it on, and then he builds this huge canvas, you know, and film. It's just great to work with, and I've been really honoured to work 4 or 5, 6 or 7 films with him. And if you get a chance to see London, Modern Babylon, Ibiza, Shane MacGowan is called A Crock of Gold, which Johnny Depp paid for, and there's a couple of others. They're just all brilliant movies. Oh, and the
Wait, hold on. Johnny Depp paid for A Crock of Gold?
Yeah, Johnny Depp got involved in it because Johnny Depp has kind of got this weird relationship. Johnny Depp was Julian's babysitter when Julian was working in LA. Johnny Depp was like a young musician, was at a loose end, and he used to babysit for Julian's children. And then, weirdly enough, when I was running my shop, he came to London as a young actor. And his first big movie was called Don Juan DeMarco. And he was seeing Kate Moss at the time, and I got involved in just playing a little bit of music on it. But then Johnny became famous, but he stayed friends with Julian and Shane MacGowan. He was also a friend of Shane MacGowan's. And so when the Shane MacGowan movie was in thing, they ran out of money, and Johnny Depp stepped in on his white Charger and said, I will, you know, become a producer of the movie. So he's quite an important person. He loves his rock and roll, and he really helped the movie out and became a producer. And he's still making some really great movies in Europe. And he's not just an actor; he's a producer now as well.
Good Lord! Wow, I had no idea. Well, this connection back to right the way back when we talk about communities and the internet, because as I said, Ryan Roxy's podcast was where people that I know have appeared from, and Ryan Roxy being Alice Cooper's guitarist, and Alice Cooper, who has another band called the Hollywood Vampires, of which Johnny Depp plays guitar, and is absolutely superb. And he has done, I've seen them live, and he's done Heroes, David Bowie, and it blew my socks off. He is an amazing singer.
I think he's fantastic. And there was a lot of really unkind things said about him when he started working with Jeff Beck, right? Saying, oh, what's Jeff Beck doing playing with him? He's not really a musician. I thought what he did with Jeff Beck was really brilliant. I think that he's great in the Hollywood Vampires. I think he was a musician before he was an actor, and I think he's really good live. And I know why he's a great musician, but I'm sure that he sells a lot of tickets and helps those bands sell those concerts tours. So it's a win-win to have Johnny Depp involved in the project, because, you know, I think he's great, you know.
Is supremely talented, and yeah, an absolute delight. If anyone gets to go and see the Hollywood Vampires live, then please do it. Very cool tip. Yes, it was. You're right, Paul. It was a very cool tidbit about Johnny Depp there. So thank you, JC, for that one. Hey, I know what I want to jump back to your book, because there are some stories in your books which you touched upon there, but there's one in particular that I really want to dig around a little bit more on. So you had your initial one shop, which then expanded to 4 clothes shops, and then you started, as you say, learning along the way, pattern cutting, designing, etc., etc. And you had stuff with your own label, the dispensary in. But it was the people and the places that your clothing went to, particularly a pair of boots.
Oh, boots.
In a video, a very, very famous, very psychedelic.
That was when we did the George Michael boots. Yeah, we had this North London guy that used to make rockabilly gear, and he had these. Was it the Faith boots? There was two. There's two stories. Or there's the platform shoes.
Okay, because platform shoes.
The platform shoes. Oh, right. So we had these. I went to this cobbler in North London, and he said, we're doing platform shoes again. And I said, oh, we've got to have those, you know, because they just look fantastic. And we put them in the shop window, and people just stopped. And at night, we used to leave the light on till 12 o'clock, and people would come past and laugh. They would point and laugh, and they would laugh. And people would say, crazy, who wears that? Platform shoes. Anyway, D-Light bought a pair. The woman out of D-Light wore them in the video. And then Madonna bought a pair. And suddenly, they weren't laughing anymore. And it became a huge thing, because our shop, we became obsessed with the 70s and the 60s. So we did a lot of 70s retro stuff. I mean, we dressed people like Shakespeare's sister, all sorts of things. And there was another great shop called Planet Alice, which the guys out of Doctors and the Medics ran.
Oh, God, yeah, I remember Planet Alice. Yes.
Yeah, Clive ran it. I met him recently, did a show with him, and they had these brilliant patchwork jeans that were made out of patchwork, and these big floppy hats. And they stopped doing the shop, but we kept buying the bits off them. And there was this sudden move into 70s. We were in the 90s, but and then the guy Val Kilmer came in. He was doing the Doors film, and he started buying stuff. And then Joanne Woolley started buying stuff, and so so suddenly we had platform shoes, and the platform shoes it took off. But within weeks, of course, you get an idea, a hit like that, and it becomes mainstream. And suddenly all the high street stores want it. And we were very much at the front of the vanguard. But when it hits the mainstream, then you lose it, because you can't no longer supply it, because they all start making it in China and it goes bang. Another thing, which was quite amazing, just very quickly, is I had this print of, flames that you have on a hot rod car. And my assistant, this brilliant assistant called Linda, she said, why don't we put that on a piece of fabric? And I said, oh, great. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll pay for the screen. And we made this piece of black fabric with flames coming up. And so I said, well, we've got to make it into a garment now. So I said, well, the easiest thing is to make a bowling shirt with the flames coming up from the bottom. And so we made one shirt, and I put it in the shop. And this guy called Jamie Theakston came in and bought the shirt. And he was a DJ and TV presenter, and he wore it on top of the Pops the next night.
Oh, wow.
Of course, it went bananas. It was like having a #1 hit. Everybody wanted this shirt, and it was the ultimate rock and roll shirt, because it had these flames coming up from the bottom. And it was just an amazing hit. But within 2 weeks, every shop in Carnaby Street had copies because it was such a
Wow.
cool idea. But you'll still see people walking around. It's a black shirt with flames coming up from the bottom. And it was kind of the equivalent of having a huge hit record, but with a garment. And it was just wonderful to be able to do that and to control the production and everything. It was just really great. And I kind of, those things I learned from the music industry and the fashion industry all kind of messed together, and it was wonderful having your own shop because you took all the money. If you didn't have to go through a record shop or a record company. It was just all you. So we did have the platform shoes, and we had the really hot shirts and loads of other things. Cathy, it's great talking to you, and thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, bless you. I mean, do you know what? You were talking then, and I was just about to say something, and I've just been presented with Exhibit A, somebody's pair of shorts that he wears every summer. Can you see those?
Yeah,
Not dissimilar.
That's exactly the thing. But it was like it was quite complicated at the time because you did at the time you'd have to make a screen print. And it would be complicated, and then you'd print it on the fabric. But now they have this amazing way of you can print straight from a computer onto fabric and make garments. And I'm just going to want to show you something, because you know how we did the postcard. You see, if the postcard is here, you've got this wonderful image of this, like nowhere and everything like that. Well, I made a jacket. I made a one-off jacket with this design on it, and it's amazing. It's a satin tour jacket. It's out there. I could show it to you, but it means going offline. But now the technology is you can print anything on anything. You can have it on a pillowcase. You can have your album on a pillowcase. What a great idea! You can, and it all comes. It's called direct-to-garment printing, or they print on the fabric and then they sew it together. It's really wonderful.
Modern technology, eh? How fabulous. Oh, you could come up with all sorts of merch ideas for that haven't been thought of before.
Yeah. I mean,
bring back pocket handkerchiefs and put it on a pocket handkerchief.
Well, you could do. Nobody wears handkerchief, but
they don't, do they?
This process is you can make a dress with the line going across the seam. You can have you can have the whole album. You can have your picture on it. You can have the view from your window. It's just quite amazing. It's a huge bubble jet printer that prints on fabric, and then they cut and sew the things. So it's. I wish it was around. I mean, when I was in the rag trade, but we're still in the rag trade a little bit because we're knocking out the t-shirts and we've got all sorts of things.
I've seen the jacket. I've seen you wearing the jacket. So you have to go over to JC's Facebook page. You'll see the gorgeous jacket. It's quite a gorgeous creation. Yes, but yeah. The next time anyone watches "Groove Is in the Heart" by D-Light, now you know where the shoes came from. You said something about the boots for George Michael, though, in Faith. That you're not telling me they came from your shop.
Slightly before, because I had the shop I was working with in export, but we supplied this company. George Michael went on TV and did a video for Faith, and he had these like rockabilly kind of pointed shoes with the buckles on it and straps. And of course, MTV was a wonderful thing because being on MTV, suddenly everybody all around the world got to see these amazing clothes, and they all wanted them. Now, before MTV, it was kind of weird because people in California used to wear different clothes to people in England, and French people used to wear different clothes to people in England. There was all these, and then when MTV started and pop videos became huge, then this homogenization came. It's like, oh, I want what they're wearing in that thing, and so we got this kind of globalization of fashion, and trends. Punk rock changed as well because punk rock went more tattoos and the leather jacket, and it was just really interesting that suddenly your market wasn't just around where you were. There was this huge, and music and fashion, of course, goes hand in hand. You know, it's like
Yeah.
You can't, if you're in a band, you have to have the right gear. Haven't you? You can't just suddenly, you know, it's all a big part of the vibe. And if you go to the gigs, you've got to have the right gear to go to the gigs. Have you ever been to a gig where you didn't have the right clothes? I'm
I
sure
think
you
I
haven't.
pretty much I kind of live in a leather jacket. Although one time I was living in New York and the Damned were playing down in Miami, and I thought, well, I'll just nip down there because you know how it is in the States. Jump on a plane, couple of hours, and I turned up and it was August and it was Miami Beach, and I had black jeans, biker boots, and a black leather jacket, and it was a little bit warm for that in Miami in August.
Well, funny enough, nobody in America in their right mind goes to Miami in August. They all go to Cape Cod. If you've got the money, you don't go. But there are people, holiday companies in England that sell holidays in Miami in August, and it is far too hot. But my story is one of the reasons I love clothing and fashion is that when I first went to my first concert, I was 13 years old or 14 with my brother. And we got tickets to see T-Rex in Guildford Civic Hall. And we were really excited. And we went to T-Rex, and it was kind of, you know, and we didn't really know. We were young kids, but we went in our school uniform. And we went to this concert, and everybody else had fabulous, you know, like loons and whatever they were wearing, their hippie gear. And me and my brother Paddy were wearing our school uniform with a like a kind of Mac on the top of it, and we felt really, oh my god, even at that young age we thought we haven't got the right gear on. And so it was funny, and it was a brilliant concert. But by the time David Bowie came to town a couple of years later, we had all the right gear, but we would sorted ourselves out by then, you know. But it was funny.
What's his name? I'm just trying to think. It's AC/DC. He still wears like the schoolboy shorts and the schoolboy
That's
chaps.
kind of
Did he see you?
what we were wearing.
See, that's you.
Yeah,
That is you. Did that.
Yeah, we kind of looked like that English schoolboys, you know, with and it was but it was brilliant, you know, to go to see that. I mean, I loved T-Rex and I love glam rock, and we liked rock and glam rock, and that was my growing up and everything. And
Yeah.
the Damned in August. Wow, that's the August in Miami.
But then we're talking about hot places. You and I both share a love of somewhere else that can get very hot in the summer. And again, that's going to take me back to your book again, Las Vegas. And by the way, congratulations! You just had your wedding anniversary, have you not?
That's right. Yes, Sheila and I got married on the 23rd of August 2008. I love Vegas, and I haven't been there for a few years, but what a great place. It's a place where you know, it's like Disneyland for grown-ups, isn't it? It's really brilliant.
Absolutely right.
This guy, look, can you get, this is my interview. Excuse me. This guy, he keeps trying to get into the thing. He's got an attention seeker. You know,
he can join in.
All right.
We can ask him a question in a minute.
Oh, she's popping now.
They're all getting involved.
So
Vegas, yes, Vegas.
Did you live in Vegas?
No, I just go there an awful lot, like 2 or 3 times a year, possibly more. It's just do you know what it is?
And he, one of the reasons he said, come to Vegas and I'll look after you if you get married there. And he worked for one of the big hotels and he gave us an upgrade, and it was just great, you know. And we flew in and flew out and had a great time. And there's a great music scene there now as well. If you want to see bands, or, you know, apparently the U2 show is really amazing. A couple of friends of mine flew out to do that.
Including me. I'll count myself amongst your friends, including me. Yes, I flew out specifically to go and see that, and yes, it was absolutely mind-blowing.
No, I heard it was really, really good. And yeah, I mean, it's the future. I mean, also it'd be my dream to do a show and you didn't have to move every night and get in a van. You could just go back to your hotel room and chill out instead of driving to England or whatever. You know, it's brilliant.
I was going to say that's part of the problem, isn't it, of touring? And it actually brings me nicely into a question I was going to ask you, which was something that I often ask people: is your preferred method of travel? Being somebody who's obviously toured a lot and been on the road, what's your favourite way to travel, and what's your least favourite way to travel?
I would say that boat is my favorite way to travel now, or train, I
Oh,
guess. But you don't really get to go much on boats. But as a musician, I would say you spend 90% of your time in a vehicle moving along. So it's quite incredibly dull to travel to and from shows, and don't let anybody tell you any different. You're cooped up in a little car or in an airplane. I'm really going off air travel, I guess. I suppose I've done enough air travel, but I suppose the best way to travel is across the waves of the internet, and that's what we're doing now. Is to That's the best way to travel, is to do your show online. And although it's not quite the same, as meeting up with your friends, but I don't know. I think boats and trains are really nice. If you could, I quite fancy doing a cruise where you play on a cruise or something like that, and you go for a nice walk on the deck in the evening. You fancy that? They do have cruises. I think there's been one punk rock cruise, and they have really a lot of prog rock cruises out of Miami, don't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of rock cruises go on these days. I'm pretty sure Alice Cooper's. It's either Alice Cooper or it's Beasto Blanco, who is his bass player and his daughter's band. They've been on
Oh,
that.
no, there's a prog one. I know there's a prog one.
Oh.
Wishbone Ash just did one up in Norway or something like that.
Oh, really?
But yeah, and they have one that goes out of Miami, a big ship that with members of Yes and all that sort of thing. And anybody out there's booking them, I'm available. I'll do a little. There we go. And it would be nice to go on a cruise. Would you like to go on a cruise with me, Cathy? Would that be fun? With the sort of
that sounds like fun, doesn't it? Because they usually have casinos on there as well, don't they? On cruise ships.
You have casinos. I had the idea that it would be a pirate one, and you'd all dress up as pirates, and
oh, how much fun would that be?
Yeah,
you get Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp could come on that. Bring Johnny Depp. Oh, I've just got to say a quick hello. I've just seen somebody else turn up, Bellinger, and she's tuning in from, if I'm not mistaken, Argentina, I believe. Hello, Belen.
Hello, Argentina.
Bless
hello,
you.
Argentina. Brilliant.
We are truly international, and she's turned up just at the point where she knows I'm going to ask the most important question that we always ask on Reignite, JC.
Oh, really?
Do you know what that is?
I don't know.
What is your favorite biscuit? Do you like tea or coffee? And do you dunk?
Dunk. Oh, biscuits. Let's think of biscuits. Well, I am partial to a Breton galette biscuit, and that's a really buttery biscuit that they make in Brittany. And I don't really hardly drink any tea whatsoever, but I do have 2 Colombian coffees in the morning to get me going. And or when I'm in France, I go to my favorite cafe called Tea Melon, and I have a very small black espresso when I buy my baguette, and they give you a tiny little galette biscuit with it in Tea Melon in a little village called Plurac. Their Tea Melon are on Facebook. You can go to them and you can find their cafe. And there's a lovely lady called Lena, and she makes me a little coffee. And I sit there with the farmers and the people that come in for their early morning bread, and that's kind of heaven for me. Don't really understand French very much, but I'm in a game. I'm like in my own movie, like JC in France. That's why I love it there.
That sounds idyllic. You are really looking forward to getting back to your place in France, aren't you? That sounds absolutely heavenly.
And I am, and also what I'm looking forward to is coming online and talking to all my online friends from there and giving them a little guide of my house and singing some songs in French and English, and
that'll
doing
be
a bit of a
fun. Are you going to do that on Facebook, or are you going to do that on YouTube? Where are you going to do that? Because we'd like to join in with that.
No, I'm going to ask you what's best. I mean, Facebook Live works quite well, but I'm going to defer to you, and we shall chat later to see whether it's better to do it on YouTube or Facebook, or you can do it on both, I believe.
That's interesting. Well, I wonder, we'll ask anyone in the chat. Let's see if before we finish, let's see what the opinion is in the chat and see what everybody on here's got to say. And yes, we will talk more about that. So you just said about lovely fresh baguette. Is that what you had for breakfast when you were over there? A lovely warm baguette.
They have it fresh every morning, and I go and pick it up, and then you do the walk. You see the walk through the village with the baguette, and there's these little flowers that grow out of the stones and the walls. It's like a stone village, and the sun comes up, and sometimes they have a murmuration. Quite often they have like a murmuration of birds in the field, and I just think, oh wow, this is great. I've lived in the town, I've lived in the suburbs, and I have a place in the country, and it's really inspiring me to write new music and revisit old music. And Brittany is a bit like Glastonbury. They've got all sorts of Celtic legends and stuff like that, and so they're bang into all that kind of mystic kind of stuff. And it's sending me on a little journey, and I'm going back to my Irish and French roots, and it's going to be really an interesting record. Might not be for all members fans, but for fans of me and for my journey, it's going to be a really important record.
Well, it's for fans of music, and it sounds, I mean, the amount of instruments that you play, and then you say inviting all these people over, and who is not going to accept an invitation to come over and stay with you somewhere that magical, and then play music in the evening as well.
Maybe you come and visit me, Cathy. Maybe you come, but Cathy and your lovely husband will come out and visit. You pop on the
I'd love to visit, but you wouldn't want me to try and play an instrument, that's for sure.
Well, you never know. You might be able to bang a drum.
Yeah,
get it on.
A triangle. There we go. Well, yes,
I've got a triangle here, and actually, triangle is quite an interesting instrument. You don't just bang it; you go round and round, and then you deaden it. So, and it's quite interesting. It doesn't take much skill, but it's not just, you know, the joke about the triangle.
No, go on.
They said I was asked to join a reggae band playing the triangle. And they said, what do you have to do? And he said, stand at the back and ting.
Yeah.
See, but you do know that now we are going to pitch up on your doorstep in Brittany one of these days with a baguette under our arms.
He'll be there. He says, yeah, he's going to be there. But
is he going to be there as well? Yeah, that sounds perfect. Right.
How many shows do you do a week, Cathy?
Oh, it varies. It depends. You see, I know a lot of people who will do a regular schedule and they'll just keep doing shows. But I do my shows when I have guests who I know are very interesting and very entertaining. So they're irregular. When we get somebody like you, we do a show, you see. So we can never say when the next one's going to be. It's a mystery.
Well, that's really good. But they're there forever. They're there forever on YouTube, aren't they?
That's it. Yeah, whatever happens, happens. I mean, we've had episodes where the internet's completely cut out and I've had to go running into the other room and you wing it. But that's part of the joy. It's like doing a live gig, isn't it? If something goes wrong, you're just going to work your way around.
Where the internet cuts out and the fade and it switches to 4G or something like that.
Yeah, or you just get like you have the most stupid expression on your face with your mouth open and the picture will freeze. That's always fun when that happens.
Yeah, but you know what it is, and it's better to be live because it's more fun, you know. It's
real, and like we said before, that you with your live stream and this with this, people are popping up on stream and making comments, and they're all part of it. Our friends in Argentina and Spain and America and Sweden, we're all here together, aren't we? Which is lovely. It's a lovely, cozy little family we've got.
And that's one of the reasons people watch sport on television is that it is actually live and nobody's edited it and things happen that wouldn't normally happen. You can make a show and you can edit it to pieces and cut it up, but it's still not really any better. And people know that. people know that,
Yeah.
because all the pauses and the funny looks are all part of your life, you know, and things that go
Yeah.
wrong are part of your life.
Well, that's it. Life is life, isn't it? So let's keep it going.
That's right. Yeah.
So what I'm
But
going to
it's
do, because I promised you we would keep this to an hour, and we're going to hit an hour, and I know you've got rehearsals, but if I could hang on to you for a weeny bit longer, and your lovely friends, if I could just hang on to you for another 5 minutes or so, we have a little section of kind of quick fire questions to get to know more about the real JC and your friends.
That's brilliant. That's
You can
brilliant,
defer to them. They can answer as well. If you'd like to consult with them, that is permitted. Right, first question we've done, that is tea and biscuits. We've done that. Groundhog Day. If there was one day that would be a Groundhog Day, you've got to run it over and over and over again. What day would you choose from your life? Ooh, that's a tough one.
Oh, yeah, the over and over again. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think that just getting up with the sun shining and going outside and having coffee and looking at the bees taking the honey out of the flowers.
Oh, that sounds bliss. That sounds absolute bliss. In fact, that's what we're going to be doing as soon as we finish. I've got some lovely Lincolnshire honey. On the basis, I don't know if you know about this, but I was told that if you buy local honey, it helps with hay fever rather than taking tablets.
I've heard that. It's supposed to be very good for it, and that's what I should be doing, racing out to buy. There's a lady 2-3 streets away that does a local honey, and I should be doing that because I am suffering from hay fever a bit.
Well, it's interesting because I've heard this theory for years, and since we moved here, I've bought local honey, and I think I've only actually taken antihistamines once in the last month or so, which is very unusual. So I'm starting to think it does actually work. We love our bees. We do love our bees. Right, let's move on. I'm going to ask you whether you have a hidden talent. Now, when we've had people on before, we've discussed things, and they do something that people wouldn't expect. Paul Gray, I don't know if you know Paul from The Damned.
I know him very well.
Loves his gardening. Yeah, loves his gardening. So now every time I have a question about what I should do with growing my vegetables, I'll message Paul and he'll give me tips. I have somebody else who was on the show, Marty Parrott. I don't know if you know Martin Parrott, drummer.
I know Martin. I toured with Paul and Marty with the Wingmen last year.
Well, oh, of course. Well, I always go to Marty if I'm running out of TV shows. Marty is brilliant at recommending which TV shows. So what talent have you got, or what thing can you teach me that I can come back to you again and again and again?
Well, I'm a little bit, not too bad on DIY, really. A bit of carpentry, a bit of electrics, a bit of painting, a bit of everything like that. I can do most things, and so yeah, I can show you how to fix a bit of something to the wall, or do basic carpentry, basic DIY. That's what I'm kind of good at.
Oh, that is handy. Yeah, I'm always having a bash at things around the house, and I can always look for advice. Right, you're going to get non-stop messenger things from me. Now, just help me here, JC. I've got this hinge, and I'm not quite sure how to. Yeah, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Right, quick fire ones for you before we let you go. What is your favourite board game, if you play board games?
Board game.
Do you still play board games?
Well, I just bought a game, and I quite like it. It's not really a board game, but I kind of like it. It's called Dominoes. I like Dominoes.
God, I haven't played Dominoes for yonks.
Dominoes is fun.
Yeah, Dominoes. That's a good one.
Dominoes.
Yeah. Right, we'll go with that. Right. Favourite condiment? Because I have seen, again, if you all look at JC's Facebook page, it's very, very mixed and very varied and very interesting. But you do seem to have a love of condiments. And I'm thinking this tomato ketchup and sriracha mix, which I don't know if you saw my comment, but I recommended you add mayonnaise into the mix as well.
That's right. Well, the thing is, when you make a meal, for me, it's like painting a picture. So you've got to have the right colours, you know. And I guess my favorite one at the moment is the sriracha mayo, which is a sort of yellow colored stuff. And it's not as strong as the red sriracha, but it kind of goes on everything. and it does go on everything I eat here, and it drives my wife mad. She goes, don't taste it before you put that on it. But it's like, yep, it goes on everything because it's a nice color and it's got a good applicator cap. So it makes a nice pattern on the food. So it's like painting with food.
You're an artist, you know, what can you say? You're just an artist.
Painting. We don't paint with food, we paint with it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I seem to remember, wasn't there a cheese on toast that you did a little design on top of the cheese on toast on your Facebook?
Yeah,
Honestly, everyone, go to his Facebook.
Yeah, you do these anarchy with the yellow sriracha. Yeah, you do like a subliminal messages. Yeah, that's right. That's on there. Yeah,
I think you'll all enjoy JC's Facebook page. And then the other things I want to ask you was, do you have a favourite TV show or a book that you would recommend, or indeed a film? Apart from London, the Modern Babylon, obviously.
Yeah. A book. I really love books. Books is the way I relax. And I suppose the book that I think is I love the most in the world is a very old book called Candide, written by a guy called Voltaire. And it's a sort of picaresque, it's sort of a crazy journey about the worst possible things that can happen to a person in their life. And he goes around the world. Candide goes around the world with a philosopher called Pangloss. And it's it's a really fantastic book. And it was written a long, long time ago, but it's still very, very funny, and it's very short. And if you've got a day or half a day, you can probably read it. Candide by Voltaire.
Okay. And obviously everyone's going to be reading your book. If you'd like to shout out the name of your book again for everyone and let them know where they can get
that would
it.
be really brilliant, because you can buy my book from my website, which is jccarroll.com. My book is called Still Annoying the Neighbours. It's from A Line in Sound of the Suburbs. And it's my story it's a kind of riches to rags story.
And I'll tell you, everyone, it is an absolutely brilliant read, and I love the way it's broken down into nice little chunky chapters and sections. And oh my God, that's one thing I meant to ask you. If you've got time, can you tell people the story from that book about the lost master before you go? Because that was an amazing chapter in the book, and if this doesn't tempt you all to read the rest, I don't know what will.
Oh yeah, I will. I'll tell you. I was at a car boot sale, and this is an incredible story. And I was buying an organ from somebody, and the guy said, "Oh, are you a musician?" I said, "Yes, I'm in the members." And he said, "Well, my son-in-law has a tape of the members." I said, "Yeah, everybody's got a tape of the members." He says, "No." He said, "He's got a master tape." I said, "What?" And it turned out that this man's son-in-law's father used to own a recording studio, and he had a multi-track of the members from 1979 of these lost tapes that were never released. And I went to his house and I got these wonderful tapes, and I remastered them and put them out. And they were just amazing to hear my band, these tapes that hadn't been seen before. And it was just a complete coincidence in a car boot sale off the A3 that I found part of my history.
That is just an incredible story. Absolutely. And that is what you will find in this book. Plenty of incredible, but really just to go to a car boot sale and end up finding, that was unreal, that story. That blew my mind. Incredible. Yeah. So rush out and buy the book, everyone. Still Annoying the Neighbours by JC Carroll. You'll love it. Brilliant. And as we're wrapping up here, I've just seen that my producer is very kindly scrolling across the bottom of the screen all the ways that people can contact you, and that's your YouTube channel, that's your Facebook, that's your Instagram, the members.
I really appreciate that. And it's been great being on your show. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my clothes on. I mean, I am dressed, but I'm going to put my proper clothes on in a minute, because I'm going to jump in the car and drive down to the studio and rehearse with the band. We start at 12 o'clock. Luckily, the studio is not very far. It's a shame, but we'll be making loads of noise in the studio. The guitars are all going up to 11, and we're getting ready for our shows at the 100 Club on Friday, and a place called Camberley, where I was born, on Monday. And we're looking forward to seeing you all there. And Cathy, thank you so much for having me on your show. I've got to go now. Is there one more question? Got one more question for me?
I think we're good. We've just scrolled those dates that you're mentioning along the bottom of the screen. So the bottom of the screen, you have all JC's socials. You have the dates coming up. When you look into the description of the show, you will find all the information there. Can I, before you go, say thanks to Paul at Kick Down the Doors PR, without whom this would not have been possible. Any final parting words of wisdom from you, JC?
So just live every day like it's your last. It's brilliant. Lovely to see you. And I'm going to go now. So I'm going to turn the thing off. So see you later. Bye now.
See you later. Thank you, JC. And there we have it. The man has to race off to the studio. I did say it was an hour and we've overrun by 10 minutes. Naughty. I'm sorry. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the show today. He was absolutely fantastic, wasn't he? What a great guy. Don't forget, new album coming out. The launch show is on Friday at the 100 Club, and then go out and buy the book, Still Annoying the Neighbours. That was JC Carroll from the members. I've been Cathy Grant. This has been Reignite. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you soon. Ta-ta for now.